Welcome, beautiful creatures, to the Lightness of Being podcast, where we celebrate the dance of life and explore ways to find joy, laughter, and lightness, even when faced with challenges. Join me, your host, Monika Stefanik, as we step into the light and discover a realm of potential and possibilities for greater ease in our lives. Let's laugh, learn, and grow together.
Greetings, light beams, or should I say hola. I'm still in Spain. I come home in just 2 days. So these are my last few hours here in this beautiful space in Tarragona. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right. Tarragona. I'm like trying to remember Tarragona. I'm doing my best. Yeah, feeling really grateful and just soaking up as much of this space as I can while I'm here. So I'll be catching a train in just about 2 hours to go back to Barcelona, and then I catch my plane tomorrow to come back to the States. How to get better than that? Yeah, so oh my goodness, you guys. I was just out walking to kind of move through some of the caffeine I had had this morning when I was eating breakfast. And I was just thinking as I was wandering around, I was like, you guys, we are not allowed to let Monica loose on the streets of Spain with a credit card anymore. Case in point of items I just bought that I don't need, but spoke to me. I mean, I don't feel like I excessively buy things. However, if you know me, the reason I say this is because I'm someone that travels purely, I'm looking at my luggage right now, purely with carry-ons. So I just have a big backpack on my back and then a smaller backpack on my front, just because, I don't know, that's the way I travel. It's easier for me and makes it so that it's I'm limited in a good way, in like a conscious way of what I can bring as well as what I can take back. And it's just funny because I'm definitely pressing the limits on this one this time. But it's okay. Doing okay. It's interesting because it leads me into the topic of conversation, which feels really resonant of like money, abundance, relaxation, receiving, and magnetism, and just how all of that is so intertwined. And like my experience moving through the stories that I've moved through and continue to move through, and like in the constant evolution of my life, of being able to live the life that I do and soak in these incredible, incredible, incredible spaces. Like it just blows my mind, and have the flexibility to be able to spend, 20, 30 euros on a scarf and some jewelry and some sunglasses. It's all about accessories. That's really what it goes to. It's like food and accessories, but accessories, right? Like here in Europe is like, it's so simple because you can just wear one thing. Like I'm wearing a simple dress and, you get some earrings, you get a scarf, you get some cute sunglasses, and we're good to go. And you don't even look American. You're just like, you're here, you're on it. So, yeah. Um that's where my money's going. Uh, anyway, I lost my train of thought there. That's okay. So, yeah, to be able to live the life the way that I do has come from a lot of inner work, and again, like coming back to that whole space of like our external world just mirrors what's going on here. And even when I first entered this apartment the first day, I was just like, whoa, you know? I've had so many experience of that, along this trip, and I feel really grateful because the stories around, like money and abundance and worth and value have been very, very much alive for me. It just the point in life, the stage that I'm at right now within my work and healing and space in life. And so this solo conversation is really mostly going to be just mirroring my experience of where I was and how I've gotten to just the point that I'm at right now, which is like still, there's still a lot. I mean, it's the school of life is ever is ever continuous, and it's so beautiful. So like I'll just relay my experience from where I was and what was showing up in my world a while back, a few years ago, as to what's showing up in my world now and how I can relate that to what I've done and what I've worked through and what's showed up for me to look at so that I can then be in the experience of the life that I am calling in and asking for. And it's definitely been had its very intensely challenging, compressed, cringy, um, scarcity moments, of course. Like, money, if we're just talking about money, that's a big I love talking about money. And that's a very big thing. I say I love it because money is energy, right? And it's actually something that we get to play and interact with. It's not just this physical form of currency that we know it. Like money is we are money. It is ever unfolding and swirling around us, just as everything is. And so when we start to shift our perspective, and I've read a lot of books. My first real touch point at starting to shift my capacity with money and understand the energetics of it came in through access consciousness. That's also when I started to first tap into receiving and what that really is, and just the unfoldment of that in my life. That was kind of the first touch point that I ever had with any of this. And it definitely took me some stages to even step into the willingness of welcoming that information deeper into my world, my internal landscape. And then from there, notice what was alive in that space for me to look at so that I could start to unravel and unfold the scarcity stories that I was living in, the like life is happening to me instead of for me, stories all the victim mentality stuff. And I mean, so many of us have this around money. And it's not just like, it doesn't just occur in our personal physical world, right? It is a greater collective consciousness shadow that exists. And so we know now, right? Like the when we show up to our space and our internal landscape and start to shift the stories of about whatever, money being an example, and scarcity and worth and value and all that, it does start to shift things on a collective, because when we're starting to operate at a different frequency, a lighter frequency, I'll say, that starts to, like, other people start to notice that, right? Like that starts to emanate in a specific type of a way, and definitely might be triggering for some, and 100% is inspiring for others. And so whether it's triggering or inspiring, it doesn't matter, because it's causing a reaction, a response that's like, "Oh, like what that person's doing, like I kind of want to do that," or what that person is doing is really triggering for me, and like, oh, they're just, I don't know, like there's so many stories that can come up about that, and judgments, right? Like towards people that seem to be living a life of abundance. And like, but that does cause a shift, and so it's like for anyone that does get triggered, and I was totally one of these people, right? For anyone that does get triggered, it's something really beautiful, right? Triggers are teachers. There's something really beautiful there for us to look at, because there's a teaching there in that space of like, okay, wow, something in here is really stirring something up inside of me. So like, what is that? And how can we find a way to shift and change that, um that reaction that's coming alive, and shift it for the better, because it's like we all have an incredible capacity for money and abundance, and like it wants to, the universe wants to give to you, the universe wants to contribute to you, the universe wants your wildest dreams, and everything that's in your imagination for your life to come through, and no ask is too big, and you can ask for whatever you want continuously, right? Like, I do constant journal practices of like writing down what I want my life and my relationships and like all these different aspects of my world to be like, and which is really beautiful, right? And there's a lot of different ways to engage with asking for things from the universe, and the journaling is one way, visualizing is another way, speaking it is another way. And you can find the way that works the best for you if it's just one, or you can engage with all of them. And I'm sure there's other ones that, those are just the three that I have used. And journaling being like the primary one. And like it's speaking things into being, or even could even say faking it till you make it, right? But it's also not but and it's also coming from that space of asking of the universe, but the demand has to come from yourself. Like, you can ask, and you still have to show up for your life and follow the little places and nudges that are going to get you to where you want to go, and deeply listening, right? And that space of deeply listening comes from a space of relaxation and receiving, which then leads us into that whole part of this conversation that I do want to get into. And it's so miraculous, the experience that begins to happen when we start to uncover those stories and limiting beliefs and mindsets that exist in all realms of life. But right now, we're going to speak in terms of worth and value and money. And it's so beautiful to uncover what you are truly worthy of, which is love, which is abundance, because you are love, you are abundance, we are all of it with every moment of every single day. How does it get better than that? It's so amazing. And there was a point on my journey as I was going through things, my shadowy aspects, where it was like, there was a point where I was intellectual, like I was taking in a lot of information, right? When I say like I was listening to stuff from Access Consciousness, and I was reading a lot of books. And so intellectually, because this is just how my brain works, right? And the way that I was studied when I was growing up, right? Like very scientific. So I was like taking in a lot of information and intellectualizing it. And in a way, like speaking it to other people, like being like, oh, I learned this thing, right? Which like just helps solidified it more in my being. And now it's just a part of like what my process looked like. And I went through a good period of time, few years, with that of intellectualizing it, and also now reflecting back, realizing that there are points where it's like it was moving into my body and into my DNA in all these ways in the way that it needed to, but I was also kind of stuck in a way of intellectualizing it. And so once I actually started to or had events in my life that forced me into places of really having to look at my stories around self-love and self-worth and self-value, that's when this capacity with money and abundance and magnetism really started to expand because I started to deepen into this, into my own self worth, right? Into the love of myself. Like it, which was such a messy, messy period of time. And I'm so grateful for it. And quick touch on gratitude, which I know that we hear a lot about that, but it's really, really, really important to bring up because gratitude, when I talk about like journaling and visualization and speaking what your asks are to the world, to the universe, it's gratitude is a fundamental component of that. Like not only am I writing down like, oh, these are my asks or this is what I really desire my life to look like, and every single day, this is what I'm grateful for. And you can say it in your head at night before you go to bed. You can journal it down, but like, this is what I'm grateful for. Everything that I have right here, right now is beautiful, is enough. And even if it's messy, even if it's challenging, I am still so incredibly grateful for it and being grateful for the challenging pieces and also having gratitude for the beautiful, beautiful things that exist around us, the people, our pets, our life, like every little aspect down to like the fresh squeezed orange juice that I get to have every single day, you know? Like, it doesn't have to be big things. It's really, really in the small things that like potency lies. And just gonna drive it home. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude is so important. So finding a way in your everyday, and that could be even listening to music, like songs that speak about gratitude and saying thank you and all of that, which I do as well. That's another really important thing for me. And like I'll listen to them on repeat, right? I have a whole playlist, which I might actually put, I might make that public. Um, yeah, that's a good thought. So yes, gratitude, important. And so it's through all of the spaces that shadow and light that I've been through that have gotten me to where I'm at right now, which is not a stopping point at all. I'm like, let's go, you know? And just I've definitely been someone who has, as a Capricorn, got a lot of Capricorn in my chart, as the mountain goat, just keep climbing, right? Like reach a goal and just keep going, just keep going. And so, when you listen to these podcasts and you hear me ask in the interviews, like, oh, what are you celebrating? I was definitely someone who never stopped to celebrate. And so, something that's been really beautiful for me on this journey to Spain has been me slowing down, relaxing, receiving everything that's around me, and celebrating what I chose and what I created in my life and saying, thank you, and saying, thank you every day, every day for all of the miracles that are showing up in my world. And in just so much deep reverence and awe for all of it. And in the past, I feel like I definitely would have been like, "Oh, I'm just lucky." It's it's not even luck. It is a conscious creation of my world, and it has not come easy. There are moments that have been easeful, but there are moments where I have just been deep in my shit, like rolling on the ground. It's been so messy. It's been so messy. And it's through those experiences that I have found those dark nights of the soul, that I have found the resilience and the light to be able to step forward into my life in a totally different way, right? It's like there's a pressure point that then you just like shoot off if you choose to. Doesn't always happen that way for a lot of people, right? There's a lot where we also go deep into the victim mindset, and that's a different topic. So, yeah, it is through this conscious creation of my world that I get to be where I'm at and the celebration of that. And so that's what I've been doing on this trip has been actually taking time to celebrate and not just moving to the next thing and searching for the next goal or whatever it may be. And this is kind of the first time in my life when I've gone on an international trip that I'm really doing that, and so I'm also getting to witness my evolution as a being of just like, "Wow, like, I'm finally receiving," and that's been showing up in a lot of different ways, not just on this trip, but really starting to, embody the energy of relaxation and receiving. And I talked about an experience that I had on the spinal flow table this last week when I was doing that training in the last podcast, and just it it just keeps getting better and better and better. And that is something that I ask almost every day is like, universe, show me how good it can get. Like, how does it get better than because I know that it does, and it's okay to ask for that. It's not wrong to ask for those things because it's when I get to feel as good as I do, that only contributes more to the collective whole. Like, it's not just about me, it's about how I get to show up in my practice, about how I get to show up with my clients, with my friends, with everyone. And it's so beautiful to be able to know our worth and our value and let our external world mirror that back to us and receive that and say thank you and also ask for more. Like, this is your invitation that that's okay. And it's so joyful and it's so fun. And we get to live this life of ease and joy and glory. That's actually an access consciousness tool, which, if you have been to see me in practice or you're close to me, you know I say that a lot. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. And so they say that 10 times in the morning and 10 times in the evening. And I have definitely, like, that was one of my staple tools early on when I first got into access. And yeah, just, through the years. So it's a really good one. Highly recommend. You can write it down on a little sticky note. I used to have one by my bed so I would see it every day because, we're there's a lot of tools. We got a lot of self-care, self-practice tools out there nowadays. So like it's not it's good to have a really solid packed up tool belt, and also we can forget what those things are sometimes. So you can put a little reminder or write it on your mirror. Uh, Yeah. So that space of like, it's coming back to that big thing of like value. Um, there was a point in my life a few years ago where I recognized that like I really didn't love myself. And even though I had love in my life in certain ways, I really didn't love myself. And so that was kind of the start of my journey, was like this understanding of, oh, I don't love myself, and going deep down into that, letting that do its thing. And that unfolded into, oh, I don't value myself. I don't see myself as worthy or deserving of, even though I'm asking and journaling for things, that's great. And yet I wasn't willing to look and acknowledge the fact that I was not in a space where I was ready to receive what this abundant, miraculous universe wanted and desired and was trying to give me. I couldn't receive it. And I did have beautiful and miraculous things come in. And when I reflect back on periods of my life and things that happened over the last few years, like stuff that I asked for totally came in, but I was not able to receive it because I didn't feel worthy and deserving of it. And that's okay, because that's just where I was at that point in time. And so the work from then has been, okay, work, like, get to that space of dismantling the story of I'm unworthy, I'm undeserving, because I'm so worthy and so deserving of everything, all the joy in this life. And and embodying that, getting to a space of embodiment, right? And then moving into a space of receiving. So, receiving. Also, a challenging point for me, and has again been an unfoldment. And I also intellectualized receiving for quite some time, relaxation and receiving, actually. And I've talked about this before, but my life's work in the Gene Keys is to move into a state of the city is being through the gift of naturalness, and which is just being that, like, to me, that is this state of like relaxation and receiving. And so, which definitely rattled my brain. Like, I just couldn't even intellectualize, conceptualize it for quite some time. And I've now moved into a space of understanding from embodiment of what that feels like, looks like, tastes like, smells like, gets to be like. And it's just so miraculous. And everything in my world starts to come through with such a deeper sense of ease from that space. And, I could look back and do the whole like, why didn't you just do this earlier, Monica? Why couldn't you just get here? And it's like, no, like my journey had to be the way that it was in order for me to get here. And I'm here now, which is awesome. And also, how does it get better? Thank you. So grateful for the ups and downs and the waves and all of it, and to get to be where I'm at right now. So this this trip to Spain has been such a beautiful mirror to me in that way, and honestly kind of a test for me as well, in a space of receiving. Because I mean, like, not only am I traveling, I'm traveling alone, and I've done this before. I've been to Europe by myself before, and there are always, challenges that come up, and sometimes you get ill, or, you miss your train, or there's just things that happen that you can't always plan for, as in life in general. But when you're traveling, that can be a little more stressful depending on the situation. And I 2 years ago was also the last time that I traveled, to Spain, or not just to Spain, but to Europe by myself. And I was definitely not in the relaxed place that I am right now. There were definitely moments where I was, like, hyper on the computer trying to figure things out and, like, doing all this other stuff. And, so this trip has been, yeah, a test and a mirror, and me getting to witness my body and my nervous system be so calm and relaxed, even in the face of some challenge, which, like, I feel very blessed that there hasn't been anything big. Um, just a little forgetting to plan things that I probably should have planned in advance. And yet, like my train. So to get a train from Barcelona to here and to go back, should have, I mean, I'm able to leave on the days that I need to. Um, but I just thought I could buy tickets at the train station like right before I go. And, I'm grateful that the universe brought people into my life that were like, no, you should buy those tickets ahead of time. And then, even again, if you listen to two podcasts ago, and I was talking about getting the miracle of getting a ticket into the Sagrada Familia on the day of, is a whole nother thing. And but those things came into my life, but I didn't allow myself to get stressed out about it. I was just like, okay, like, I deeply trust and know that, like, everything's gonna work out, even if I can't leave this day. Like, there's other ways to get there. Maybe I have to pay a little bit more money, maybe this, maybe that, but, like, I'm not gonna allow myself to get stressed out about it, because there's no need. for that. Like, I can be in this experience and even in the challenging aspects and find a way to be relaxed. And when I relax, and as like moving from that space of relaxation, the universe just provided, like fully just provided the ticket to the Sagrada Familia, my trains to be able to get to Barcelona in time and with ease, and it like it they're miracles. They really, really are. But unless we're in that state, like if we're trying to force it, those things can't open up for us. Like the universe can't shift, and it's constantly shifting and moving things. Like when we ask for stuff, it's the universe is like, okay, awesome. I'm gonna move this thing, I'm gonna move this thing, and like, which is great. So we have to like allow it some space and some time. Like the challenging thing, the trick that we as humans get into is we ask for something and we have this vision, which is so beautiful, but sometimes we get really rigid and locked in it, right? Of like, it has to show up in this time, in this way, look like this. And then, if for some reason it doesn't happen in that time, in that way, look exactly how we want it to, or the money comes like that we're asking for, like in the way that we want it to, then we write it off. Or like, oh, it didn't happen. Like, oh, that manifestation or how, whatever you want to call it, like didn't work. And it's like, well, did you ask, but release what it has to look like, the time period of what that is gonna like, how it's gonna if you did you release how it's gonna show up? The actualization, as Access Consciousness calls it, like, manifesting is that it shows up in your life, and it will. Actualization is how it shows up, and so they're not the same, and so we have to not have to, we get to let go of my experience, and my ask of you is that you let go of how it has to show up and what it has to look like, because when you allow the cosmos that spaciousness, it shifts things, and then it is like, here you go, you know and if we're also, and then this brings in receiving, right? Like if we're also in that space of being relaxed and being able to receive. And, I'll very quickly, again, I did talk about this in detail on the 2 podcasts ago about the Sagrada Familia ticket, but it's a really great example because I had been at the church and had realized like, oh, I'm probably not going to be able to go into this basilica, but I'm just, I get to take in the outside. That's really beautiful. I'm going to sit out here, just take it in amazing. And that also means that like, if I can't see it this time, it's a reason to come back on another trip. And so then I was like, okay, I'm really tired. I'm going to go home. So I went back to my apartment and decided to download the app and just see if there was anything that I could notice on there or like try to get in the next day. Looked at the dates, there's nothing available. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I think I had put my phone down for a little bit, or no, I was still in the app. And so I had gone through the pages and I was like, okay, there's nothing available for my entire time in Spain. There's nothing available. So I like, went back to the beginning of the app or whatever where where the dates were, not because I was going to look to see if anything was available, because I had in my mind like, oh, there's nothing available. That's okay. Like it just wasn't meant to be. And the second that I get back to the page with the dates on it, it had April 8th open. It wasn't blocked out like gray anymore. And I was like, what? Clicked on it, and sure enough, there was a ticket available, and I was able to choose it and go. And it just and I fully believe that the only reason that that happened is because of me releasing the outcome of what it had to look like, and being in a space of being willing to receive, and like and releasing my attachment to being able to go and all these things. Whereas like past Monica would have been like super bummed out, and then I would have like judged myself and gotten down on myself and be like, why didn't you do research beforehand? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And it's like I don't operate from that space anymore. And it's amazing. But and it's also taken me some time to get to that space, get to this space where I'm at. And so that's why I say like the unfoldment is a journey, and it gets to be really, really beautiful. It gets to be really beautiful. And ebbs and flows and all of the things. So, yeah, receiving is, mm, I hope I'm doing like an, I hope I'm speaking about this in a way that resonates because there's so much to say on the topic of receiving. And I feel like I was speaking with a friend last night and just reflecting on some things and also providing some feedback and coming into the awareness that part of my purpose as like a practitioner and probably even beyond that is showing people, showing my clients, anyone that wants to come and see me in that more professional space, that there is this really beautiful space of relaxation and easefulness in our bodies that we get to tap into. And I feel like part of my purpose is to help get people to this space and show you that that's possible. And the only way I can really show you that that's possible is by doing my work and living it and emanating it. And then from my lived experience, getting to share it with the collective of like, hey, I've been where you are. And I'm still, making my way along the path. And this is where I'm at right now. And it feels fucking awesome. And this space of like relaxed embodiment and truly tapping into the receptive nature of the cosmos is so much more easeful than where I was at before. And so, if you want to explore that, I'm super here to do that with you, to help be a guide on your journey. Like, I cannot walk you down the path, but I can show it to you and I can share with you what it's been like for me. And so, yeah, I feel so passionate and so excited about it because I'm so grateful to be where I'm at and also to get to show up to professional and personal spaces in this way of like, hey, I've been there and this is the this is what I know to be true. And my life is so much better getting to be more relaxed and natural and moving from a space of embodiment and being than to move from a space of control and anxiety and force and push and pull, right? So just feeling really, really good and really aligned and very much on my path. Thank you. And yeah, even getting to do this and share in this way is so incredible and magical and beautiful. And so from this space, which now this leads me into, I feel like I'm doing this really fast, but this now leads me into it's like, okay, we're receiving, we're embodying. So now not only is the universe like reflecting the beauty and mirroring everything back to me, it's also magnetizing. Hear this word, being a magnet, being an attractor for the things that we ask for in life. And only over the last few months, maybe not even like months, weeks. I mean, I've been gone for like 2.5 weeks now, so I'll say like maybe like months. Um, there's been I've been noticing just by me being me and being the embodiment of my asks and what I'm desiring to create in this life and just being my true authentic self and being vulnerable and not putting up a mask and not moving from control and anxiety and push and pull and force and all those things, and the lower vibrations of like scarcity and like all of that, just being really really at peace and really at ease with everything in my life as it is and letting my emotions come through as they do for whatever it is, whether it's challenge or beauty and joy. um, there's been things that I've asked for that just show up for me, like at my doorstep, in ways that I can't even Imagine, okay, I'll give this as a really great example. So being here in this beautiful, beautiful apartment, I have 2 balconies. It's in a main part of, they call it, Par Alta, which is the old town. In Croatia, they call Old Town Stari Grad. In the Spanish culture, it's, yeah, Par Alta. So in the middle of Par Alta, like, I can see the sea, and there's this square that's right outside, and then there's a church that's right over here and to my right. And because I'm here over Easter, which was not planned at all, there's a really incredible ceremony and procession that happens this whole last week that I was here. There was all this drumming, and I didn't know what was going on, so I had to do a lot of research. There's these massive processions that move through the streets for days, and they take hours, and the brotherhoods of the churches and stuff have been doing these for eons, and so they're still doing it to this day. So this is like a very special, very sacred week here, and um, I got to witness all of this from my home, from my balconies, getting to watch these incredible processions move through. And the reason I share this is because when I was walking in Barcelona, um, I had this thought of like, wow, how amazing would it be? Because um, oh, yeah, there was also, like, some kind of something happening like this happening in Barcelona, but it was very small, like, right before I left to get the train to come here, and I saw these people up on their balconies getting to watch it because, like, when you're down in the crowd, you're in a crowd, and, like, I'm really short, and so it's hard for me to see and all these things, and so I ended up leaving, and because I was just like, "Well, this isn't fun for me, this isn't joyful for me, so I'm just gonna go." Um, but I was, like, looking up at the people on their balconies, and I was like, "Oh, that's really awesome, like, that'd be a great way to view something like this." And then I get here, and it's provided to me, and so the whole time I've been here, I've just been in absolute awe of, like, wow, and, like, that was something that just happened, like, it's not something I previously had thought about, like, months or years or whatever ago. It was, like, something that I thought about just a few days before I came into this town. So, I just that's just, like, a really beautiful example. So it's yeah, there have been all these little things and big things that have been magnetized to me in my life, and just placing them at my feet, basically, like, kinda literally as well. And, so that all to say, it's like that has been my experience and my evolution with these energies of receiving and relaxing and magnetism and abundance and attraction, and even being in this beautiful apartment. I'll be uh what's the word, transparent. So this place is $150 a night, and for me that was like a little bit of a splurge. And some places in the United States, just like regular hotel rooms, you're paying close to that per night, and you don't get anything close to the magnificence of this place. Like, the bed is comfortable, the pillows are great, the sheets, like the view, the location, the art, the privacy, the just all of it is great. Um, I'm feeling so grateful for it. And so yeah, it's like I told myself that when I went on this trip, which was for work, right? Because it was for a training. But I also told myself, like, every time I travel, when I come to Europe, usually I stay in hostels to save money and to meet people and all these things. But this trip specifically, because its purpose was different, I also told myself, I'm like, you are worthy. You are worthy and deserving of staying in spaces that make your body feel good and at home. And when I saw this place online, I had no idea it was going to be as incredible as it is. I was like, something about that gives my body a full yes, a fully embodied yes. And I had to book it and pay for it right in that moment as well, which, like, a lot of times I'll also book things that I can be a little flexible on. Like, they'll be like, oh, you can cancel within a week. So then if I wanted to try to find something different, I could. Didn't have the option with this place. I was like, okay, like, I'm fully in, and it truly makes me feel like a goddess. And there's literal pictures of some of what I can only assume are like Roman gods on the wall, like pictures of the sculptures of Roman gods on the wall. And I'm just like, I feel like a queen. I feel like a queen, you guys. I feel like a queen. I feel like a goddess. It's awesome. And I chose it and I created it and I asked for it and I'm saying thank you and I'm embodying it. And I'm just like, how does it get better than this? And like I also know and trust that the money will flow into my world in a way to help me um, compensate for this time away from work and for this trip and for this training and not allowing myself to like skimp on the comfortability of my body because this is another thing that access consciousness touches in on is like what do they say, something along the lines of like money being used to like take care of our body because then that just gets to I wish I could remember the line because it's so good. um right, because like when we're taking care of ourselves it comes back to that space of like that just creates better for the whole, and not from a space of like self-obsession and ego and all of that, but from a like a very deep alignment space and like being able to be here and be in this beautiful space. I've been able to create like crazy, create these podcasts and be on my computer and do work and create emails and like get things lined up for adding, you know, this new technique to my practice and all of this. And if I was in a hostel, that would be really challenging for me. Not being able to just be in my own energy and swirling around other people, it would have been a lot and it would have been really hard and probably impossible to especially be able to record. So again, like it's okay. Like I'm worthy and deserving of this and choosing that for myself on this trip and not allowing money to be a limiting factor and go into that scarcity mindset. Like I'm not going to go and stay, you know, I'm not going to be like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm going to spend like $500 a night on a place like and that's just me like, you know, taking care of my body, but this was, like, me taking care of my body while also working within, like, a monetary range that felt somewhat comfortable, and I was like, "Okay," and it also was, like, for me, again, it also felt like splurging, especially with the view and all the things, and even when I bought it, I was, like, cringy, I was like, "Oh my god, like, do I deserve that?" Like, "No, I do, it's okay," and, like, getting here and receiving it and, oh, has just been so, so beautiful, so Uh, man, I feel like I could just go off on this topic for so long. I am getting a little bit aware of my time though, because I do have to catch a train to Barcelona. So I'm gonna wrap this up um, by just saying thank you to you all for listening, for being here. Like grateful and yeah, remember to say thank you. Remember to write down, ask, speak, visualize your biggest asks and dreams and aspirations for your life because you're so worthy and deserving of all of it. Mm. Thank you.